Hi everyone, LeiLani Cauthen, CEO of LeiLani Cauthen News Media, here in Atlanta. Actually, not really Atlanta, it's Sewanee. Did I say that right? Yeah, sort of the outskirts, where the cool people are, just saying. Okay, so I have with me today Dr. Penny Christensen, who's an Instructional Technology Integration Specialist from Barrow County School District. Welcome aboard. And also my longtime friend, Hoke Wilcox, who is the Executive Director of Accountability and
District Applications.
I can't read my own writing, sorry about that. And the Fulton County Schools, yay! Let's have some Cobb and some other districts. Any other districts in the room? And we got some higher ed folks? Okay, well, there's a bunch of cool people over there. DeKalb's in the house. Okay, good. All right, so we're with all the cool people. So we have a lot to talk about today. And I want to start out with just, what was your favorite? What was your favorite thing to talk about today so far? Hope, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
You know, oftentimes in districts, even districts of our size, there's a limited ability to share ideas and to think and to just have some time to thought partner.
Yes.
And so I covet these moments when we're sitting with our colleagues to be able to share ideas and thought partner and think about some of these issues that we've covered today. So really it's just the time of collaboration and hearing from our friends in Cobb County and always our good friends in Gwinnett, but just being able to exchange ideas, that's my favorite word.
Yeah, my favorite word, you said the word covet.
Okay.
Which is a cool word, right? Means likes it a lot and wants it. I agree with you. I think this is a really special thing. It's always been here in Atlanta. Always, since 10 years ago.
Wow.
There's something very special about Georgia. I'm just going to say it. From an educational perspective, there is a camaraderie, a brother and sisterhood. So like you said, you guys care about each other, you covet each other's time. It's awesome. Thank you for that. All right, Penny.
You know, I'd add to that, yes, that time and space that we create when we come to things like this is super valuable. But also, when we get together, we're the doers. Like, we're the ones who, when someone says, okay, and now it needs to get done, they look at you, right? The dreamers in our offices, you know, they always have these like expansive thoughts and dreams. But for us especially, to be able to suspend the, okay, but how do I connect A to B to C to D?
Yes.
That's also really valuable, and we don't get to practice that a lot of times as doers.
Yes, I totally understand. And when you go back to study the slides that I glossed over about strategy creation, you guys are tactical level, was what you're saying. They're strategy thinkers, and my reality on when I look at actually what's going on in the field, and I'm just going to be real because this is going to impugn your seniors. So don't go back and tell them I told them this. Just hide this video when it goes live online. Superintendents tend to be goal seekers. We know that. They put out lofty goals, but the connection to the execution at the troop level is never good. 100%, right? There's some. They tend to be trendy. They come and go. So I understand where you're coming from. Tactical levels, let's make it actually happen. Well, then I threw at you, and this is the next question, a lot of the vectors of change are going to make it almost impossible for you to stand on the deck of the ship because the seas are that wild. What do you see really coming down? Like, what did you focus in on today? Like, because you're standing on the deck of that ship at high seas. What do you think, Hoke? You're on deck.
I have to go first last time.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true.
No,
we can make Penny go.
No. I think it's the realization that change is always going to be present.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I think we saw such upheaval during COVID and such amazing change then, both good and challenging. But I think seeing that change is still coming. You know, when you look at the challenges that you listed before about, you know, teacher retention and teacher hiring and attendance and those things, those are still challenges and changes that, you know, education sometimes we don't do great at changing, but we're going to have to. We're going to have to do better at that. So I think it's being able, again, to see how other people are looking at that change and how we can provide more opportunities for students.
Yeah, we were good for a change for a little while during the pandemic. I mean, I have to tell you, and I want you to comment on this too when it comes to you, is that, the thing happened on March 15th, 16th?
Just about 4 years today.
4 years ago today, and I watched schools all across the country step up. It was a human experience, the likes of which this country's never seen. You guys stepped up. There's only a few that were like, we're just shutting down. Everybody home in your pajamas. Everybody else stepped up. They were doing stuff. I mean, it was amazing. So there was that, a moment of change that was really epic, but it really hasn't continued through. All right, Penny, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you, LeiLani. That was episodic. We probably won't see that again in our lifetimes. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, let's get ready.
But I mean, we did rise to that occasion, but on the other side of that, you see a lot of exhaustion. And we need to maybe learn that lesson, that as we look at how artificial intelligence is going to impact everything, that won't be episodic. That's going to be, we have to change up our game. We have to go from just one at a time at a classroom level, a one teacher at a time level, to how do we build that into strategic plans, which by nature are so lengthy that one of my colleagues pointed out, kids have gone through high school before you've changed your strategic plan at your district level. So we have to know that we have that stamina in us. We've done it before, but we have to plan for that sustained change this time.
Oh, Penny, I agree. I was trained in the world of, corporate America, where I can write a strat plan in 24 hours, right? People in education are like, what? This takes years. Yeah, I understand. Well, we are at the strategy level. So I'm going to throw a new one. I promise you softball questions, but I'm going to lie and say this is not a softball question. And if you don't want to answer, you just go pass, like we're on a game show, okay? And then somebody from the audience can answer. But this is my reality about the change that we're seeing when we look at all the vectors, okay? So I'm going to take you to another understanding, and that is form follows function. Okay, we all know this quote from the 1870s or something from that famous architect dude, I can't remember his name. Form follows function. What is the function of this age that carries everything? Underlies every major industry. Starts with INT, the internet.
Yeah.
The internet, okay, is the function that built Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, FedEx moving to the model that it did, right? Modern logistics completely, Uber, built Uber. It's basically underscored the entirety of the modern economy, okay? Even manufacturing has moved to use robotics, but it's using networks to do that, right? Even modern medicine, remote surgery, okay? So if we look at form follows function, we also see something happening in the modern age that is not unlike us moving from the agrarian age, farming, everybody's out in the country, you had 12 kids in the family, everybody's doing farming, right? And then we had the industrial age. What happened? People were distributed. They had a compact with their government. Remember, that was feudalism. It moved into some other forms. We had a republic born. And then they went to an influx into cities, okay? We are now in an outflux because the form is no longer the manufacturing plant. Most of commercial real estate is empty. It is an outflux. And the internet could be said to be the chaos machine. It destroys hierarchies, bureaucracies, and puts everything into sort of an ad hocracy state. It tries to distribute to the nth level. Each one of you are a node on an infinite network. Individual is a node, not the company or the district or the school. So the overwhelming force that we're dealing with that's different from the previous age is the internet, and it wants to distribute to the nth. You guys know what I mean by nth, right? To the individual. Directly to you. For you in a completely customizable way. What does that really mean for the structure of education in the future? And I just told you, it's an unstoppable force. It will bring down governments, and already has. It will bring down all bureaucracy and centralization for the sake of centralization over time, right? Probably pretty quickly. Hope, what are your initial thoughts on everything I just said? Because this is deep, and you can pass, but you go.
It's when you start thinking about the way you phrased it, it's almost overwhelming. I don't know if anyone else got a bead of sweat as she's talking, and you think about the reality of what you're saying, and that we've seen examples of everything you just said.
Yes.
And I think it's incumbent upon us as leaders at whatever level we're at, is to make sure that we're positioning our students for options and make sure that they can take advantage and be able to survive and thrive in the reality that they're going to see. And that's true forever in education, but I think it's the enormous responsibility that we have as educators and people that are charged with the education of students to live in that reality.
Yes.
So it's overwhelming, I think is what I would say, but one that I know, looking around this room, looking around at the people that I work with, looking at our leaders that we have in our district, I know we have the right people at the table, and I think it's just making sure that we're all in agreement about what that reality is.
Yes. Good. Andy, what are your thoughts?
Well, Hope, when you say the right people, I think that's what it's going to come down to, because if all knowledge can be distributed and is distributed equally, it's accessible to all these people, you have to have people who are able to group and regroup and reimagine. And that's what I love when I come to these, LeiLani, that you blow me out of my box. You help me think about what I am ignoring, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, right? And so we're going to need to help those people in our organization who are quality people. We need to retain them, maybe attract more, but we need to give them the flexibility of how to rethink through some of these problems, I think.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so when we all catch up, I love the fact that you said humanity and that you were talking about the people at the table, because one of the things that the Chinese government leaders have recently come out and said, they're the ancient culture, right? They think in terms of thousands of years, right? Which is a fascinating thing to me. But they said that we are now in the age of human. Their whole focus is on longer life, quality of life. That's where their government wants to take them. We're still in the tech age. And my firm belief is that the age of human, the exaltation, the efficiency of the human is coming. Now, if you study the agrarian age, out of the 365 days of the year, the average worker on the farm worked 150 days. It's about that. Okay, I could be misquoting the exact number, but it's well less than 300. Okay, it's a totally different quality of life than we have now. It was better. So we're hopefully going in the direction of that. The tech should have brought us not just a tool, but a modernization of the way civilization is structured, so that we can arrive at a point where it's truly better for humans. So that's why we talked a lot about, here's your big bucket of AIs, not just the one, which is the shiny object currently in the consumer mind, but all of them. Where is that really going to take us? The side is human, and we need to lead there now, not later after we figure technology out. I want your final words on that.
I like the image you gave us of we're sharing an Uber ride to a destination.
Yes.
We come from different points. We're here now. Now we're going to take this journey, and then when we get there, we may take different or further, or we might be done with our journey. I think that's a great way to visualize all of our students, because often it's an empty vessel to be filled. If you look historically at where we've come from, I'm the only one who can fill it. And instead, it's very liberating to think I can set them on a path, meaning I don't have to be the expert. To me, that structure of school is a reality. It's the 8 to 5 that we work in, but it doesn't have to be that end of our journey. Like, I think we can we can look to the horizon and see maybe there's some different possibilities there.
Yes. I like the fact that we're thinking more fluidly. It's wonderful, isn't it? All right, Hoke, what are your thoughts on this?
And I think along those lines of fluidity, I think not only is the environment we have now demanding that,
Yeah.
our students are demanding that.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at the options that we now have available, just here in Georgia, right? Dual enrollment, virtual learning, state virtual learning. Like there's lots of other ways that they can consume education than was ever possible 20 years ago.
Yes.
And so I think it's, again, incumbent upon districts and school leaders to make sure that they're providing those different ways and different options for people, because they're not going to take the one size fits all anymore. It's not acceptable. And
Yeah.
I think that's why you see attendance declining. I think that's why you see teacher shortages, that people are unwilling to accept the old model and they're going to demand something that's more flexible and more custom made for them.
I totally agree. Yeah, it was Steve Jobs. There's a quote in one of our special reports not too long ago, who basically said, he was quoting Henry Ford, who said, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have told me faster horses. And he built the first cars, right? So Steve Jobs had the same attitude. It's like, he didn't want to build what people wanted. He wanted to build what they didn't yet know they would need. Okay, so I think we're right now in an age, and this is really important for all the leaders to understand, and then I want everybody to comment, anybody that wants to, is that we are at a point of discovery what the future actually is. Not what we think we want to do, but to watch all those vectors of change, the absenteeism, the this, the that, the characteristics of this alpha generation that doesn't understand why words are coming out of your human mouth, right? Why aren't you just texting me, right? Like, why isn't there just a video? Why do I have to be there? I don't get it. They don't get it, right? Because they're living in a different age than we are. And we have to determine what those vectors mean for the actual structure. Because the agrarian age to the industrial age, from the industrial age to the tech age, to the age of being human, the extraordinary amplification of humanity is where it's going next. But what does that look like exactly? We don't know, and not enough people are investigating. Okay, so final comments from the audience or remarks that Hoke and Penny are dying to make. Should we wait 1 second and let's see if they say anything?
Yes.
What's up, people? Shy people.
We stunned them.
Stunned.
We talked them out earlier.
Well, love you all. Okay, so Penny, what are your final thoughts on that?
The immediate impact, I think, that people will respond to at a district level is the teacher shortfall and those next 6 years while we look for warm bodies and examine what is education in our district at this location. And it'll look different from our neighbors, but everyone's going to be seeking that same clarity, I think.
Yeah, and that's funny because they're not necessarily, I'm coming to you second. They're not necessarily looking at the structure, like they're built to need a one in every box.
Right.
Every classroom has to have one. They're not thinking yet of changing that structure. Because Amazon blew up retail. They just said, I'm not going to have any buildings anymore. Bye. See ya. They're not thinking that way.
Not yet.
Not yet. Hoke?
One of the things that we talked about earlier at our table was about leadership and the importance of leadership. And
Yeah.
I think in those headwinds and the reality that we're talking about, to me, it really emphasizes the need for good, strong leadership at a district level, at a department level, state level. You need amazing leadership right now. And I think
they need to be highly argumentative with the old guys sitting up there in Congress.
Amen.
And girls.
Right.
Because those guys are like, what? Online, what? I'm just saying, it's got to blow that stuff up. Yeah, I'm willing to go argue with them. I'll do it for you.
I'm with you, Lonnie. I'm right there.
I'm right. I've got my placard. I'm marching around. I'm yelling. Well, this has been super fun. Weren't they awesome? Let's give them a big round of applause.